would like to introduce you to I'd like to introduce you to Reshma Saujani, public advocate. Do you know what the plan is?
I think I've been to a lot of places.
We have a 1 minute opening. We have a 2 minute opening. I'm sorry. We have a timekeeper. Yellow is 1 minute. Red is stop. Okay. And then I will ask you some questions. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Reshma Saujani. I am first and foremost the daughter of refugees. My parents came here from Uganda in 1972. They were expelled by the dictator Idi Amin, and they worked hard day and night. I got a chance to go to public schools and fight my way to Yale Law School, graduate, and work as a lawyer working in the financial services industry and at the same law firm Pearson Joe where I worked in. I then ran for Congress here in this district. Got my butt kicked, but it was the best 10 months of my life, and really got to meet a lot of the people that I am proud to say that I'm serving today. I was Bill de Blasio's deputy public advocate, and Bill asked me to run something called the Fund for Public Advocacy, which allowed me to help undocumented students go to college, helped me to help small business owners. When I left, I started a nonprofit called Girls Who Code, which is teaching our teenage girls how to computer program. I know many of our girls here in Roosevelt Island are in our program. I'm so excited about that. I want to thank John, who's here today, for having one of those first conversations and introducing the opportunity to me. I'm running for public advocate because I want that office to mean something to everybody in this room. And when I talk to people about what they need, they say, Reshma, I need a job. I want my kids to be educated. I want a roof over my head. And for women, they say, I need someone who's going to fight for me. For seniors, they say, I need someone who's going to fight for me. So I'm going to have a deputy public advocate of housing, education, jobs, women, and seniors. So real quick, let's talk about housing. We don't have real affordable housing in this city, and I don't have to tell the people here on Roosevelt Island that. Public advocate sits in the city's planning commission. I will make sure that any development that goes up is not a luxury townhouse that doesn't have any middle-class families. Second, I want to get the curriculum that I've built with Girls Who Code in every single public school and make sure that we have computer science education in every school. I've already started doing that, but drafted legislation that's been introduced in Albany to make computer science fulfill a science requirement. Third, if I can teach 16-year-old girls how to computer program, you sure as well know that I can teach their parents, and I already have. And I've been working with LaGuardia Community College, Monroe College, to start adult coding classes, because you can make $83,000 a year as a website programmer. Finally, when it comes to seniors, I'm going to have a deputy advocate that is thinking about seniors every single day. And we got to have permanent housing for our seniors. And then we need an advocate for women. Look, 86% of women work and have children. That number was 18% in 1972. We don't have paid parental leave. We don't have affordable daycare. We still have a gender equity gap when it comes to most industries. I want to close that. And as your next public advocate, I am going to fight for you. Those are a couple of the things that I am going to be working on. The election's on September 10th. And as our president says, you can't keep electing the same people and expect a different result. We need some new blood out there. And I hope that all of you will take a bet on me. I think you've already seen what I've been able to do for our girls here in this community. I can do that for our entire city with your help.
We have 3 topics that we've asked we're asking every candidate. So I'm reading the exact same question. Affordable housing. The new Roosevelt Island residential developments are all luxury rentals or condos. Even the affordable housing component of these buildings are made up of apartments only for hospital personnel at Cornell Weill and Memorial Sloan Kettering and not available to the general public. Will Roosevelt Island wire buildings planning to leave or already left Mitchell program with those buildings already left Mitchell program, what will the candidate do to preserve affordable housing on Roosevelt Island?
Thank you. So, as I mentioned, the public advocate has a seat on the city's planning commission. So I opine on our zoning laws. And luxury housing should not be limited to people that are working at the hospital. It should be open to everybody. And I will make sure that I fight for affordable housing. Part of the problem is, if I could be really honest with you, is the cozy relationship between politicians and developers. It's gotten too cozy. And you hear people on one hand say, I'm going to fight for affordable housing, but then take campaign contributions from real estate developers. I'm proud to say that I've gotten pretty much no money from real estate developers. And I am proud of that. And I think that any time that we have developments going up, the public advocate, I make this promise to you, that I will hold our politicians and our elected officials accountable and transparent. The amount of money that they're accepting when these developments are going up in front of them, and for however long that duration may be, because you deserve it. And that's the only way we're truly going to have affordable housing. Just so if I could, a couple more thoughts on that. That don't necessarily pertain to your question, but I want to talk about housing for a second. I also think we gotta think about our seniors. Many of our seniors live on fixed income. And I can't tell you the countless conversations, I just had one right now, with a woman who is terrified that she's gonna be sleeping on the streets in 9 months because the rent's going up. We gotta have fixed housing for our seniors. We have an aging population, and I believe it's our obligation to take care of them. Finally, the way that the public advocate can also play a role in our housing crisis is in landlord-tenant courts, which are a mess. I met a woman who spent the past 10 years in and out of landlord-tenant court. Every single corporate lawyer, I don't know if there's any lawyers here, have to fulfill a pro bono requirement where they have to do a little bit of public service, right, or pro bono work. Let's get them to work in our landlord-tenant courts and really fix them. And that's what I'm going to do as your next public advocate.
Thank you. Cornell. The Cornell campus will have significant impacts on the island, both during construction and once classes begin. How will you ensure Cornell will act as a good neighbor, protecting the needs of existing island residents and giving back to the local community? During the construction phase of Cornell, what will the candidates do? What will the candidate do to ensure as best as you can that Cornell barges most of the construction materials, works with the Roosevelt Island community organizations, and contributes its fair share to the finances of New York City?
Sure, so on the last part, Cornell's got to hire as many Roosevelt Island residents as they possibly can hire, has got to work with our small businesses, and has to truly engage our community. This is where John and our conversation came up, right? We have a growing technology sector here in New York City. I know we're so excited to have an engineering campus, because one of the things that is preventing companies from coming here is that they don't have enough engineers. And one of the things that John came to me and said, well, it's great that we're having this great school, but we want to make sure that our young women are going to be able to go to that school. How can we make sure that our high school girls are going to be trained and equipped so that 4 years from now, 8 years from now, they're able to go to that fabulous engineering school? And John was able to kind of connect me to the woman who was over at Cornell Tech to say, all right, how can we work with all of these eighth graders and middle schools that are in our community to make sure that we're training them? And we did that. And so over the summer, we had an 8-week program where all of these young women came to classes. Basically, it was called an intensive summer class, and they learned how to build websites, and they learned how to build mobile apps. And they went to Facebook, and they had a field trip, and they went to Teen Vogue, and had a field trip, and they went all across the city and really learned about what does it mean to be an engineer. And they just recently graduated, had a wonderful time, and we're going to have more programs like that, more Girls Who Code programs, where we're having all of our young people here in Roosevelt Island getting access to being our future engineers. That's where Cornell Tech's got to work with the community here, because we have an opportunity. And I know that, when I spent a lot of time out here, and, in many ways, this is the bastion of the middle class, but it feels like in New York City that's slipping away. And that many of the opportunities and jobs that were once open and that allowed you to be in the middle class aren't there anymore. But here's the thing that's not changing: technology. We're getting faster and faster and faster and faster. And we have to make sure that our children have those skills. We have to make sure that our adults have those skills. We had a telephone conference, I'm going to be quiet. A woman was 58 years old called. She said, Reshma, I still got to pay the rent. I used to work in cosmetics, but I know these computers are really important. What can you do to help train me? So many people ask me this question. And I believe, and I've seen it with and I'm just going to tell one story. One of the young women that was in my program, Julia, father's a substitute custodian, and she started training him how to computer program. He's gone from $20,000 a year to $80,000 a year. It's possible.
Right? Transportation.
Yes.
How can public transportation on Roosevelt Island be improved? Better subway service, additional bus service to Astoria and Long Island City, a ferry stop on the East River ferry service. One of the solutions might be called
The nerd vote.
where we support the city investing money and of the budget money to connect ferry service to Roosevelt Island.
Absolutely. I mean, I support that proposal to have ferry service here. I support more resources that are going towards buses and subways and making it possible for people to simply commute. You know, this can't be a city that is all about the 456, right? That is all about Manhattan and nowhere else. And transportation is a big issue. One of the things that I think is critical that I've now seen some really cool apps that do that is how do you actually map the inequities, right? Of where we're spending the most amount of our resources in transportation and where do we have hardly any? You know, when Charlotte and I started this campaign about a year and a half ago, I said, because I don't know how to drive, to be honest, but I said I was going to take the subway everywhere. That lasted for about 2 weeks because I couldn't do more than 2 meetings a day. Like, it is impossible to get around this city. And we need a public advocate who is going to really fight for adequate and equitable transportation because that's how we get around. That's how most people get to their jobs. That's how our young people get to their schools. That's how our seniors get to our doctor's appointments. It's critical.
Thank you very much. I think we need to move on. Is this an urgent question?
Yes.
One urgent question.
A very wonderful thing for Roosevelt Island to get people to work in a very healthy manner and to reestablish the elevator that takes you up to the Koch Queensboro Bridge, where they can either bike or walk. That doesn't seem as if it's going to be terribly, I mean, it'll be expensive, but not expensive.
It's not breaking the bank account.
I think that's a great idea. And that's something we should definitely explore, especially because it seems that there's so many more people that are excited about biking in the city bikes. Absolutely. I would like to do that. So,
Okay. Thank you very much.
thank you so much. I know it's so bad time, so thank you, everybody. I hope you come out and vote. Reshma Saujani.